Hello everyone, this is Mason Charles Haggett, and today we are going to be reading The Lost Flower, Chapter Final, Meagalovania, by yours truly, Mason Charles Haggett. Narrator: Cherry is sitting on Scott's shoulder as they are almost to the king's castle. They have traveled a lot since Chapter 7. Cherry the Flower: and go south. Scott: and here we are. Narrator: they look up and see a huge, scary castle, bigger than King Knight's castle. There is a moat and 2 guards guarding the gate to the entrance to the castle. Scott: so, Cherry, what's the plan? Cherry the Flower: well, I got one. Just stay here. Narrator: Cherry slithers off of Scott's shoulder and goes underground. Scott: well, guess I'll stay here. Richie: I feel like something bad's gonna happen. Rob: I know, right? Narrator: Cherry slithered out of the ground and attached her vines around one of the lizard men's neck. Richie: Rob, are you okay? Narrator: Rob passes out. Then Cherry uses her magic to throw the other lizard man into the moat. Ah! Spoom! Cherry the Flower: all right, Scott, come on out. Scott: all right. Narrator: Scott comes out of the trees and over to Cherry. Scott: all right, let me guess. You want me to get into the armor that he was wearing? Cherry the Flower: wow, you're smart. Narrator: Scott gets in the armor. Scott: little big, but it'll do. But wait, how are you going to disguise yourself? Cherry the Flower: oh yeah, you said that your flower's a little big, right? Hold on, Cherry the Flower: oh yeah, you said that your armor was a bit big, right? Scott: yeah? Cherry the Flower: is there room for me? Scott: oh, come on, remember I have allergies? Cherry the Flower: well, too bad. Narrator: she gets in Scott's helmet. Scott: fine. Narrator: they walk up to the gate as a lizard lady asks for a permission slip. Scott reaches into a pocket in the armor and gives it to the lady. The lady takes it and lets him in. They are now in the castle. They walk in. It is scary. The halls are dark and dimly lit by torches. They begin to walk. Scott: so, Cherry? Cherry the Flower: don't call me that here. There are cameras all over the place. Scott: okay, then what do I call you? Cherry the Flower: just call me by my real name, Ara. Scott: alright then, Ara. Where do I go now? Cherry the Flower: just keep going straight until you see a staircase. Then go up. Scott: geez, don't they have an elevator? Cherry the Flower: on the 3rd floor they do. Scott: geez, why not the 1st? How many floors are there even? Cherry the Flower: 21. Scott: oh goodness. Narrator: they keep walking down the hall. Scott: so, Ara, why didn't you go with your brother? It sounds like going with him would be better than the Forgotten Realm you want to go to. Cherry the Flower: the reason I didn't go with him, friend, is because he is never satisfied. He makes himself miserable. But then again, that's why he was a salesman. He was always going bigger and bigger until it was too big for him to comprehend. Scott: makes sense. So who was that Charlotte you and him were talking about? Shh! Narrator: they walk past a ton of guards lined up on the wall, leading to a huge dining area. There are the 3 tyrants themselves, King Chad, Queen Jolly, and King Knight. And the staircase is right behind them. Scott: looks like King Knight joined the treaty. Cherry the Flower: shut up! Narrator: a lizard man in a chef's outfit comes up to Scott with a platter with drinks on it. Chef guy: so sorry to ask, but can you give this to them for me, please? Scott: so sorry, but... Narrator: the chef gives him the platter anyways and runs off. Scott: great. Narrator: Scott goes into the dining area. There's a big mural painted on the wall that looks like it depicts a war. There's a diamond chandelier on the ceiling that shimmers with glory, and the 3 tyrants, King Chad is wearing his finest golden armor and a golden crown. King Knight is wearing silver armor and a silver crown. Queen Jolly, the only human Scott has ever seen for what seems like years, is wearing a very pretty dress and a crown made out of ruby with a diamond in the middle of it. She almost looks like an angel. There's a TV in the room in the corner of the ceiling. He overhears a conversation they are having. King Knight, I hope the Rams win. Queen Jolly, you kidding me? The Rams suck. I hope the Cardinals win. King Knight, the Cardinals suck. When was the last time they won? 7 years ago? Queen Jolly, oh, shut your mouth. King Chad, hey, can we watch cartoons now? King Knight, ... Queen Jolly, ... King Chad. So? King Knight, I like that idea. Queen Jolly, man, I want to keep arguing with King Knight, though. King Knight, well, later, I need a break. Queen Jolly, oh, okay. Narrator, King Knight switches the channel to SpongeBob SquarePants as Scott walks over with their drinks. Queen Jolly, finally, you guys take forever. King Chad, come on, that was only 2 minutes. Queen Jolly, exactly, 2 minutes is too long. King Knight, hey Chad, I think we need to buy them a time machine in order to satisfy Jolly. King Chad, haha, yep. Queen Jolly, not a bad idea. King Chad, not the reaction I was expecting, but okay. Narrator, Scott brings over the drinks carefully, but then drops them. King Chad, oh come on. Queen Jolly, strange. One of the servants that works here would never drop the drinks. King Knight, can we watch Stranger Things now? Narrator, Scott is shocked. He doesn't know what to say. Scott, must have been a happy little accident. Queen Jolly, oh yeah? Let's see. Narrator, she summons a card and sends it flying up Scott's helmet, making the helmet fly off his head, revealing Scott and Cherry. Cherry the Flower, great, Scott. At least it wasn't your allergies this time. King Knight, well, look who it is. Long time no see, old friends. Scott, long time no see, your highness. King Chad, finally, here you are. Queen Jolly, so you two are who have been causing us so much trouble, eh? Interesting. Guards, attack! Narrator, Scott runs up the stairs as fast as he can, as Cherry summons a vine blocking the way to the second level for the soldiers. But the soldiers began to hack through it. Scott walks into a room with 2 exits out of it. There's nothing in it. Scott, Aura, hurry up! They're breaking through! Cherry the Flower, go left! Narrator, Scott goes to the left. There's 2 lizard men in there. Cherry throws them on the ground using her magic and ties them up using vines. The room seems to be a training room for soldiers. Scott, alright, where do we go now? Scott, Cherry the Flower, go to the left. Narrator, they go to the left. It seems to be an office with skeleton soldiers in it. They all get up and get ready to use their magic, as Cherry summons vines to tie them down to their seat. Scott, alright, where now? Cherry the Flower, go to the right. Narrator, Scott goes to the right to be greeted by a dead end. Cherry the Flower, oops, wrong way. Narrator, it was already too late. 4 ice soldiers appear behind them. They charge their bows, getting ready to fire. One fires, hitting Scott in the leg. Then Scott makes a wall of fire and fires it at the ice soldiers. They run around like chickens with their heads cut off. Scott makes a run for it and goes into the previous room. But this takes time. He takes a right. Cherry the Flower, Scott, is your leg okay? Scott, we will deal with it later. We just need to get to the elevator. Cherry the Flower, okay. Narrator, they walk into a room with a stairway. They walk up the stairs. They walk into what seems to be a coliseum. They see the elevator under the bleachers with a hall leading to it. But then, from above, they see a skeleton soldier pull a lever and a gate opens from the far end of the coliseum. A dinosaur comes out of it in armor and has machine guns on its shoulders. This dinosaur is weird though. It's made out of a plastic and is alive, and it can talk, almost like a comic book character. Weird. The Aloe Demon. Oh yeah, it's time to fight again. Narrator. The Aloe Demon charges at them as it fires. Cherry summons a force field around her and Scott as she throws the Aloe Demon onto the ground, and Scott runs for the elevator, but the Aloe Demon gets back up and charges at them. Scott summons a wall of fireballs as they continue running for the elevator, and he throws the wall at the Aloe Demon. It does nothing, however. They walk up to the elevator, and Scott clicks the button. Cherry the Flower. Scott, hurry up, it's getting closer. Scott, I'm trying. Narrator, the aloe demon gets closer and opens its mouth to eat them as Cherry picks it up using her magic and throws it into the wall on the other side of the Colosseum. The elevator door opens as Scott and Cherry get in as the aloe demon charges for the elevator door but was too late and the elevator door closes. Cherry the Flower. So, are you going to pick a button? Scott, well, it depends which level is the orb on. Narrator, Cherry clicks level 10 and they begin to go up. Inside the elevator, it looks like the elevator you'd see at a doctor's office. White light, even a plant in the corner. Cherry the Flower, alright Scott, let's see, how's that leg doing of yours? Narrator, there is an arrow in Scott's leg. Cherry the Flower, how does it feel? Scott, cold. Cherry the Flower, oh, there's an easy solution to this. Narrator, she pulls the arrow out of his leg and wraps her vines around it and uses her magic to produce a warm heat. Cherry the Flower, there you go, good as new. Scott, thank you. Cherry the Flower, you're welcome. Scott, ... Cherry the Flower, so the end of your journey is at hand, I see. Scott, yep. Narrator, they're quiet for a second. Scott, parts of this adventure were torture. Cherry the Flower, like that weird dinosaur and running through the castle. Scott, yep, but there were some parts of it that were fun. Cherry the Flower, like what? Scott, making a new friend and meeting all types of different creatures and people. Cherry the Flower, same here, Scott. Narrator, they're quiet as the elevator continues going up, but then Cherry speaks again. Cherry the Flower, Scott, there is something I need to tell you. Scott, what is it? Cherry the Flower, I cannot come with you to your home universe. Wait, Ara, but why? Cherry the Flower, if Charlotte's gonna find me, she's gonna find me here. I heard she comes to the Dark Realm a lot. Scott, who even is Charlotte? Cherry the Flower, to be honest, I don't know that much about her. Scott, all I know is my brother is afraid of her for some reason. Narrator, the elevator door opens. It is raining outside. Not a hard rain, but a peaceful rain. They are on top of one of the pillars of the castle. It's a big circular area, and in the middle is the pedestal with the dark orb on it. Cherry the Flower, well, Scott, guess this is it then. Guess this is goodbye then. Scott, yep, I admit, the only thing I'm gonna miss about this place is you, Cherry. Cherry the Flower, I don't blame you, Scott. Narrator, Cherry crawls off of Scott's shoulder onto the ground and walks with him as they go towards the orb. The rain continues to soothe them. Scott can't believe it's over. He remembers all the times he's almost died and all the times Cherry has saved his life. Scott, hey Cherry? Cherry the Flower, yeah? Scott, thank you for saving me all those times. Cherry the Flower, same to you, Scott. Narrator, Scott can hear the water splashing under his feet as he walks towards the dark orb. The dark energy is pulsating off of it. Scott, are you sure you can't come with me, Cherry? Cherry the Flower, I'm sure. Scott, okay then. Narrator, Scott gets ready to touch the orb. His hands are an inch away from the orb, but then, Cherry the Flower, Scott, look out! Scott, what? Narrator, from one of the pillars in the distance, a giant 9-foot-tall robot jumps in front of Scott and knocks him back. The robot suit is made out of a steel and has flexible arms and is fairly thin. He has shoulder spikes, and at the top of the robot is the head of King Chad. Chad EX. Wow, you thought you were done, didn't you? Wow, how delightful. Narrator, missile launchers come out of Chad EX's shoulders, and he fires the missiles. Cherry quickly jumps in front of Scott and summons a force field around him. The missiles break the force field and weaken the blow, but Scott and Cherry go flying in the air just to land on the ground again, thankfully. Chad EX, wow, did you really think I was just going to let you leave? You gotta be kidding me. I've been looking for you two for what seems like forever, so how about you enjoy some fireworks? Narrator, fireworks come out of the palms of his hands and fire at Scott. Scott manages to dodge one, but the other one hits him in the gut, nearly sending him flying off the tower. Scott grabs onto the ledge. He wheezes in pain as he looks up at Chad's fat, stupid lizard face. He was surprised his crown hadn't fallen off. Scott, help! Someone please! Cherry! Mom! Dad! Derek! Anyone! Please help! Chatty X, that's right. Keep calling for help. Nobody's gonna come. I got your flower leaf friend right here in my hand. Just give up. Accept your fate. Fall and die, stupid. Scott, please, someone help. Narrator, Scott begins to feel this feeling in his stomach, a feeling that won't let him die. He remembers all the good times he's had with his friends and his family. He misses them very much. He remembers everything he did to protect Cherry, just for all to go to waste at the end. He then decides that he's not going to let that go to waste. Scott, you know what? I'm not going to call for help. Chatty X, good! Then just fall and die already. Scott, no, I'm going to fight. Narrator, Scott summons a horde of fireballs and aims them at Chad's face, and fires them, sending him flying backwards and making him drop Cherry. Cherry falls off the edge of the tower, just as Scott grabs her with one hand and pulls himself up with the other. Cherry the flower, you saved me. Scott, of course I did. Are you alright? Cherry the flower, I think so. I'm just really worn out. I don't think I'll be able to use my magic for a while. Scott, it's okay. Narrator, Chatty X stands back up. Chad EX. Honestly, I thought this was gonna be quick and easy, and I could just go back to watching cartoons. But I guess not. You wanted to do things the hard way. Then let's do it the hard way. Narrator. Chad EX jumps backwards and lands on the floor. The metal shoes produce electricity, which sends visible electric waves through the water. Cherry crawls back on Scott's shoulder as Scott jumps over the electric waves. Chad EX. You two have been a pain. I just need to give that flower to the mustache man, and the war will be over. That's it. I don't even want her for my own self-gain anymore. Just give the flower to me. Scott. Let me think about it. No. Scott. Scott. Let me think about it. Chad, EX. Really? Scott. How about no? Narrator. Scott summons the fireballs in multiple spirals, making them hard to dodge. Chad EX gets hit by most of them, but jumps out of the way of some of the others. Chad EX. Well, you got some guts, kid. Let's see if you can dodge these. Narrator. Missiles come out of his shoulders as Scott runs as they follow him. Scott has an idea and runs toward Chad. The missiles stop following him and then follow Chad. Chatty X. Ah, crap! Narrator. The missiles explode on him. Scott runs from the explosion. Scott. You almost ready, Cherry? Cherry the flower. Almost recharged. Just need some more time. Chatty X. Wow. Do you honestly think some missiles are gonna do much against me? Unbelievable. Narrator. The dark orb is pulsating with dark energy. Rain trickles down Scott's shirt, giving him chills. He doesn't know how his fire magic is not going away because of the rain. Guess he won't question it. Chatty X's hand stretches out from where he's standing and grabs Scott and Cherry and throws them. Scott slides against the floor. He feels his knees grind against the rough, sharp floor. It feels like rug burn. The rain begins to hit harder. Scott, please just stop. Chatty X. Was that a joke? Cherry the flower. I got a joke for you. Chatty X. What is it? Cherry the flower. What did they replace the whales at SeaWorld with when they died? Chatty X. What? You. Chatty X. Haha. I am laughing my guts out. Enjoy the fireworks, kids. Narrator. He fires some fireworks out of his hands as Scott jumps out of the way, and they blow up behind where he was originally standing. Then, Chatty X jumps up and down repeatedly, producing electric shockwaves in the water again. Scott jumps over each wave as Cherry sticks one of her vines under the water and absorbs the energy from the shockwaves. The waves stop. Chatty X. Wow, I see that you're getting better. Looks like my attacks are getting too predictable. Cherry the flower. Hey, check this out. Narrator. Cherry throws one of her flower petals at Chad EX's crown, making it fall off his head and go flying off the tower. Chad EX. Oh, you little brat! Narrator. He walks towards him, but Cherry summons a vine underneath his foot, making him trip. Chad EX. Okay, that's it. Narrator. Jet boosters appear on his back as he goes flying into the air. Chad EX. Honestly, I was hoping we could finish this battle way before this point, but whatever. Narrator. From where he is in the sky, his arms stretch out and try to grab Scott and Cherry. Scott manages to dodge the arms twice, but then a firecracker comes out of nowhere and hits him in the back. Ah! Narrator. Chatty X grabs Scott and lifts him up to his face. Chatty X. Now die! Scott. Wait, where's Cherry? Chatty X. Good point. Where is she? She must have crawled off your shoulder when I lifted you up. Oh, that's not good. Narrator. Chatty X begins to come toward the ground as he drops Scott back on the ground. Cherry pulls him closer to the floor and then sweeps the floor with him. His face splashes against the water and his metal robot suit gets all beaten up. Cherry does this for about 5 minutes and then runs out of energy and drops Chatty X off of the side of the building. Chatty X just flies back in the air as Cherry crawls back on Scott's shoulder. Chatty X, you know you couldn't keep me down forever, right? Narrator. Bouncy balls with spikes come out of his hands and bounce all over the place. Scott just runs, but one hits him and sticks to him. He screams in pain. Then he remembers the weapon Mrs. Fox gave him. He snaps his fingers and summons the wimpy bone and hits the balls with it. He aims them at Chatty X, but he dodges most of them. However, one did hit him. Chatty X. Okay, that's it. Narrator. Faster than the speed of light, Chatty X stretches out his arms and grabs Scott and pounds him down to the floor. Then grabs Cherry off his shoulder and chokes her as he taunts Scott. Chatty X. Wow, that was honestly harder than I expected. Scott. Ha! Right? Narrator. Chatty X smacks Scott across the face. Chatty X. Honestly, as I was saying, still, even you being that determined wasn't enough to beat me. Let me tell you a story. A long time ago, there were these 3 friends. One had ulterior motives and betrayed the 2 friends when they were most vulnerable. She had achieved the power of Neo. In her new suit, she was able to soar through the skies and break from her so-called strings. And I still don't know what she meant by strings, but whatever. But somehow, the 2 friends beat her. I don't know how, but they did. Do you know what I'm telling you? That me, Chad EX, who is even weaker than Jolly Neo, can beat you, and you 2 are stronger than them. So tell me, why is it that? Well, guess we'll never know, because now you die. Narrator. The robot suit's chest opens as a beam gets ready to fire. Scott closes his eyes and accepts his fate, but the laser never fires. He opens his eyes and sees that the jet boosters that keep him in the air are completely frozen. Chatty X. Wait, what's happening to me? Narrator. He lets go of Scott and drops Cherry as he begins to float in the air. Chatty X. How am I flying if my jet propulsion system is literally frozen? Narrator. Then he goes flying off the edge of the tower to his doom. Scott is confused on who did this, because it sure wasn't Cherry, who used her magic because she passed out as soon as Chatty X grabbed her off his shoulder. Then he sees someone in front of the elevator they came in. The orb begins to pulsate less dark magic as she walks towards him. Scott. Who are you? Gulp. Narrator. He is scared of this person for some reason. This person is wearing black robes and has a black hood over their head for some reason. Scott can't pull his eyes away from her. This person has a blue light growing around them. And brown glowing eyes. Hello. Do not be alarmed. It's a pleasure to meet you finally. Narrator. She puts out her hand. Scott shakes her hand. Her skin is angel soft, but then he hears a loud fart noise. Ha! The old whoopee cushion in the hand trick. It's always funny. Narrator. She takes down her hood. She looks like an angel. Her hair is velvet red, and her eyes even glow. Scott can't take her eyes off her. Scott can't take his eyes off her. Charlotte. That's your cue to laugh. Scott. Oh yeah. So I'm guessing you. Oh, come on. I don't have all day. Scott. Charlotte. Yup, that's me. All right. Queen of the Forgotten Realm. Scott. Sorry for the stuttering. Charlotte. Oh, don't worry. I make all the boys stutter. Well, except for one. Anyways, where's that flowery friend of yours? Scott. Oh, she's over there in the there. Charlotte, thank you. Glad I rose up to the challenge of finding this flower. It was a real thistle in my foot. Narrator, Scott watches her walk to the poor passed out cherry, and she picks her up. Charlotte, gee, that King Chad really did a number on you two. It really twigged out you guys. It really twigged you guys out. Narrator, Scott can't help but to laugh. Charlotte, there you go, finally got you. Narrator, her phone rings. Charlotte, oh, not now. Narrator, she hangs up. Charlotte, anyways, would you like to say goodbye to your friend? Scott, sure. Her phone rings again. Hold on. Narrator, she picks up the phone. Isaac, what the heck, Charlie? Why'd you throw Chatty X right on top of me? Charlotte, well, maybe you should have moved. Isaac, but I don't wanna. Charlotte, but can't you just teleport? Isaac, hold on. Narrator, Scott and Charlotte hear a loud blaster fire from the bottom of the castle. What are you doing now, Isaac? Isaac, there was a spider. Charlotte, how big? Smaller than my fingertip? Charlotte, look, I'm busy and you're really bugging me out. So don't. Charlotte, look, I'm busy and you're really bugging me. So I'm hanging up. Narrator, Charlotte hangs up the phone. Scott, dot, dot, dot. Charlotte, so what are you going to do? Sit there and stare at me? Or say bye to your friend before she finally pedals home? Scott, oh, so sorry. Charlotte, don't worry, I'm used to it. Narrator, Scott holds Cherry in front of him. Cherry is still passed out. Bye, Ara. Hopefully we meet again. Charlotte, now, I should probably get out of here before Isaac does something stupid. Scott, or the rain begins to fall harder. Charlotte, the rain doesn't fall. Rain drops. Narrator, she summons a portal and exits as Scott gets one more glimpse of her and Cherry. Scott, well, time to go home. Narrator, he goes to the orb and puts his hands around it as he is teleported to the bathroom at his school. He gets off the school floor and looks at himself in the mirror. He is all bloody and beat up, and the bandages on his face are soaked with water. Scott, even after everything, it's still you. Well, anyways, time to finally take that well-deserved leak. The end. All rights reserved to Casino Co. Edited by Ethan Smith, my good friend. Thank you for reading.